Wanted to do another one of these worked out example problems. This time, problem 83 out of chapter 1. And as before, we're going to take a look at it, read it through, and then start analyzing it and figure out how to solve it. So first, as always, here's the text of the thing. Let's read it through a bit. Now, when you read this one through, my impression when you first see it is, here's a tube, we put some stuff in it, here's what it weighed, what's the diameter of the tube? They don't seem to have much of a connection with each other. And indeed, when you first look at it, it might seem one of these classic, evil professor type questions like this one. But in reality, it's not. This one is actually fairly readily analyzed, but it does take a little bit of thinking, and I really think for this particular problem, it also is very helpful to actually draw some pictures. And so it involves a tube. It involves filling that tube with ethanol and doing a few things with it. So what I'm going to do is identifying what we are asked to calculate here, the diameter of the tube that we put the ethanol in. I think it's sometimes not a bad idea to have a picture of the tube kind of drawn out. So here we go. Now, indeed, this is why I'm keeping my day job, because my artistic skills, let's face it, blow rocks. But there is our tube. And what we are after, what the problem wants us to calculate, is a length, is this diameter. I'll put a question mark on it here. That is what we're asked to calculate. Our final answer is going to have units of a distance on it, probably centimeters on it. And so we kind of have an idea where this thing wants us to go. And we also have a bit more information about it. We're told that this tube is 25 centimeters tall. And that's the information about the tube itself that we have. Then the problem says we come along to this tube that must be sealed up down here at the bottom, and we pour in the ethanol. And so bloop, it fills that thing up. And then we're given some information about how much it weighs after we add the ethanol. 45.23 grams of ethanol fill the tube. And you notice what I did there. I wrote the number, wrote the units, wrote what's in it, but I also put a little bit of extra information. Oftentimes the most difficult things that students confront when tackling a problem like this is reading through it and keeping everything straight. So it's not a bad idea when you're writing down numbers to, what the hell is that number? 45.23 grams of ethanol that fill the tube. It doesn't take that much time, but it can really pay off as you try to organize yourself here. And with that number, we're given one additional number, the density of the ethanol, 0.789 grams per milliliter density of ethanol. Now, from just that information and a little bit of knowledge about conversion factors and using density as a conversion factor, you realize we're now perfectly set up to get our little fingers on the volume of ethanol that's in this thing. Now that doesn't tell us the inside diameter, but it's a volume. Volumes. Let's think about those for just a moment. We've had to do this a number of times. They are always 3 length units, length with height, or areas times height. You notice we have the information to get our little fingers on the volume. They already came right out and told us what the height of this thing was. The only part of this little relationship here, volume is area times height, would be the area. We don't know what the area is yet, but let's think about that for a moment. Area of a circle. Oh, this is one of the most basic equations you've been taught for a long time. Area, circle, pi r squared. Oh man, doesn't that just bring back good memories? And you look at it. it's got the radius. They're asking us for the inside diameter of the tube. Radius is just one tiny little jump away from the diameter. If we could get our fingers on the area, we can get our fingers on the radius. Once we have the radius, we are extraordinarily close to the diameter and actually getting this thing answered. It's not really that difficult a problem, but I really do think the key is kind of getting a visual and then thinking your way through what some of these numbers actually represent. So here we go. First, I'm going to need the volume of the ethanol in there. So I'm going to go ahead and use the density and the mass that we're given, grams of ethanol, and we are told grams, they're going to go away, die, pig, dog, die. I'm going to turn them into milliliters. The density of this stuff is 0.789 grams per each and every 1 milliliter. And if I do that magic little calculation, I come out with 57.33 milliliters of ethanol in the tube. There it is. And remember, 57.33 milliliters is also 57.33 cubic centimeters, the volume, okay, of the ethanol in the tube. As we already thought about, volume, area times height. This volume is the area of the tube, or at least the circle that makes up the tube, times the height, which is given to us as 25 centimeters. Good Lord, even the units match. Isn't that just inspiring? And in fact, yes indeed, we are going to calculate the area. The 25 simply gets moved to the other side. The area of this tube, 2.293. Now notice my units. I've got cubic centimeters here, and I'm going to divide into it centimeters. Amazingly enough, square centimeters come out. Isn't that just marvelous how that happened? And so yes indeed, the units are just right for an area, 2.293 square centimeters. Now, what I really want out of this, not the area, I need the radius. That's the big one. So I'm going to take my cute little area equation and solve it for radius, and that's relatively easily done. The radius is simply, radius is the area divided by pi, okay, moving pi to the other side, and yes indeed, the square root of all that. And now I start entering my values. 2.293 square centimeters over pi, 3.14159 square root. Last time I checked, that was the value of pi. And so, magic little calculator business again. I get 0.854. Looking at my units, pi doesn't have any units. I had square centimeters at the top. I took the square root. So I just get centimeters. Wow, a radius in terms of centimeters. How about that? That is the radius. Oh, we are so close now. The thing asks us for diameter. We now have our little fingers on the radius. We simply take that, multiply it by 2. The diameter is 2 times 0.854 centimeters. And that comes out with, rounded off, about 1.71 centimeters. And there is our answer. Simply from a mass and a density and the height of the tube and a little bit of knowledge about ethanol itself. Fairly straightforward problem in reality once you start thinking carefully about it. I really do think the picture is the key to it, and writing out the meaning of some of these numbers, and as often happens, we've seen it plenty of times, remembering the definition of volume. Length with height, or area times height. How many times have we used that? Here it is again. So take that, think about it, go forth in good health, and calculate. Solve a few problems, learn a few things. See you later.